Taxation as ritual tribute, tithes, tributes, and sacrifices to the state god. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Money Magic series. Taxes are so familiar to us that we rarely stop to question their form. Once a year, or once a quarter, citizens across the world gather their records, fill out their forms, and deliver a portion of their earnings to the state. It feels mundane, bureaucratic, and inevitable. But if you peel back the language of accounting and administration, you begin to see something older, deeper, and more ritualistic at work. Taxation is not simply the collection of revenue. It is a ritual tribute. It is the modern form of sacrifice, the continuation of tithes and offerings once given to kings, priests, and gods. The state has replaced the temple, but the act is the same. Human beings surrender a portion of their life force, measured in money, to sustain the larger order. To grasp this, we need to go back to the origins of taxation. In the earliest societies, wealth was agricultural. Farmers grew grain, herders raised animals, artisans crafted goods. The rulers of city-states demanded a portion of these products, not only to fund armies or palaces, but as tribute to the divine order they claimed to embody. In Mesopotamia, temples doubled as treasuries. Priests collected grain, oil, and livestock, storing them in temple granaries. These offerings sustained the temple cult, the priesthood, and the redistribution system that supported the poor. To give was to participate in the cosmic order, to ensure fertility and stability. Refusal was rebellion not only against the king, but against the gods themselves. Egypt offers another vivid example. Pharaohs were not only rulers, but divine intermediaries, embodiments of Horus and sons of Ra. When Egyptians delivered grain to state granaries, they were not merely paying taxes. They were offering tribute to the god king, ensuring the Nile would flood and the cosmos remain stable. Hieroglyphs show officials tallying bushels, counting livestock, and recording deliveries. These were ritual acts, performed in sacred language, often accompanied by festivals. Taxation was not economic, it was liturgical. The Hebrews encoded this principle in their system of tithing. A tenth of produce was dedicated to God, given to the Levites, the priestly tribe with no land of their own. Festivals like the Feast of Weeks or the Feast of Tabernacles included mandatory offerings. The tithe was not optional, it was covenantal, a binding agreement between people and deity. To withhold it was sin. Malachi 3:8 asks, "Will a man rob God? Yet you rob me." But you ask, how do we rob you? In tithes and offerings. In this worldview, taxation and sacrifice were indistinguishable. Greece and Rome continued the pattern, though in more explicitly political terms. Athens demanded tribute from its allies in the Delian League, payments that sustained its empire and funded the Parthenon. These were called phoros, literally burdens, but they were framed as contributions to the protection and order Athens provided. Rome demanded tributum from conquered peoples, a word that echoes tribute. To pay was to acknowledge Rome's supremacy, to recognize the empire as divine order on earth. Refusal was treason and sacrilege alike. Roman coins bore the image of the emperor, and taxes had to be paid in those coins, ensuring that every payment was also a ritual acknowledgement of imperial authority. This ritual character carried into the medieval world. The church required tithes from peasants, a tenth of their harvest or earnings. These supported the clergy, maintained churches, and funded charity. Payment was enforced not only with earthly penalties, but with eternal ones. To fail to tithe was to endanger your soul. At the same time, feudal lords demanded rents and labor from their serfs, framed as obligations of loyalty. These dues were collected on quarter days, dates aligned with solstices and equinoxes, tying taxation directly to the cosmic calendar. Paying rent was a seasonal ritual, mirroring planting and harvest, sacrifice and renewal. When nation-states rose in the modern era, they inherited this entire structure. Taxes shifted from grain to money, from temple to treasury, but the logic remained. Citizens owed a portion of their substance to the sovereign, who in turn guaranteed order, protection, and prosperity. Wars, roads, bureaucracies, all were funded by taxation, but all were justified as part of a sacred contract. The ruler embodied the state, and the state embodied the divine. Even in democracies, taxation is framed as duty, not choice. It is the price of membership in the civic religion. Look closely at the rituals that surround taxation today, and you see the ancient echoes. Tax Day in the United States falls in April, the season of spring renewal. Just as ancient farmers offered first fruits, modern citizens offer their monetary harvest from the previous year. In Britain, the fiscal year begins in early April, a survival of Lady Day, tied to the spring equinox. Corporations end fiscal years in December, aligned with the winter solstice, when old cycles die and new ones begin. These alignments are not accidents. They are Saturnian cycles embedded in law. Taxes are paid in rhythm with the sun. The language of taxation still carries the flavor of sacrifice. We speak of tax burdens, echoing the Greek phoros. We speak of contributions, as if we are giving to a cause greater than ourselves. Politicians call taxes investments in our future, framing them as seed offerings. Audits function like priestly inspections, ensuring the offering is pure and complete. Penalties resemble curses. To be in arrears is to fall under judgment. Taxation is not neutral, it is moralized. To pay is to be righteous, to evade is to be sinful. The symbolic parallels grow sharper when you examine how states enforce taxation. In antiquity, sacrifices were demanded by priests. Refusal risked drought or famine. Today, taxes are demanded by bureaucrats. Refusal risks fines, seizure, or prison. The threat is different, but the principle is the same. You cannot withhold tribute from the power that sustains the order you live within. Just as gods were believed to punish disobedience with misfortune, the state punishes non-payment with legal destruction. The offering is compulsory, not voluntary. Even the imagery of taxation has occult resonance. Think of coins and bills bearing national emblems, presidents, queens, or eagles. To pay taxes with this money is to return the symbol of sovereignty to its source. It is like returning temple offerings marked with the god's image. The currency itself is a sigil, a sign of authority. When it flows back to the state, the circle closes, the ritual is complete. From an occult perspective, taxation functions as energy harvesting. Human beings expend their life force in labor, which is translated into money. A portion of that energy is ritually extracted and concentrated in the state. The state then redistributes it, not unlike how priests redistributed temple offerings. Roads, armies, schools, and subsidies are funded, but the process is framed as sacred duty. The state becomes the modern god, receiving sacrifice to sustain itself. This is why tax protests feel not just political, but spiritual. To refuse to pay is to refuse participation in the state's religion. Revolutions often ignite around taxes for this reason. The American Revolution began with outrage over taxation without representation. The French Revolution exploded in part because peasants bore crushing tax burdens while nobles and clergy were exempt. These were not just economic grievances, they were rejections of illegitimate tribute. The people refused to sacrifice to a god they no longer recognized. When taxation loses legitimacy, the entire ritual collapses, and with it, the state itself. Even today, debates about taxation are debates about faith. Do citizens believe the state uses their tribute wisely? Do they believe the sacrifice is just? When they do, taxation flows smoothly. When they do not, resistance grows. The ritual only works if the participants see the state as a worthy recipient. Otherwise, the tribute feels like theft, and the spell breaks. From Mesopotamian offerings to modern IRS filings, the structure has remained astonishingly consistent. Wealth is gathered from the many, concentrated in the center, and redistributed to maintain order. The timing aligns with cosmic cycles. The language moralizes the act. The enforcement ensures compliance. And the underlying meaning is sacrifice. Taxation is not simply revenue, it is ritual tribute to the state god, the secular deity that claims sovereignty over life. So the next time you sit down with your forms, your receipts, and your calculator, remember what you are truly doing. You are performing an ancient rite. You are offering a portion of your life energy to sustain the larger order. The priesthood is now bureaucrats, the temple is now the treasury, and the god is the state. But the act has not changed. Taxation is sacrifice, tribute, tithe. It is the ritual that binds citizens to the power that rules them, ensuring that the cosmic order of money continues year after year, cycle after cycle. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Manifestation series, where we don't just talk about manifesting, we master it. Because let's be honest, manifestation has been watered down, reduced to vague quotes, mood boards, and empty promises. But you didn't come here to wish. You came here to build a reality that hits different. A reality that responds to your frequency, your language, your alignment, and your decision to stop playing small. This series is not fluff. It's physics, frequency, and fierce creative power. Inside the Manifestation series, you're going to learn how to collapse timelines, shift identities, and speak worlds into existence, just like the greatest minds in history. This isn't just about being positive. This is about being powerful. Here's what you unlock inside. Vision to Reality, the Vision Board course. You've heard about vision boards, but you've never done them like this. This is a full energetic ritual, a precision-coded map for your subconscious, designed to bridge image, frequency, and strategy. It's not arts and crafts, it's blueprinting your future in visual form and turning it into matter. Time, quantum timelines, and why time isn't real. Manifestation doesn't take time, it takes alignment. In this module, I'll show you how time is just a mirror of energy and how to collapse timelines using choice, clarity, and vibration. Past, present, future, they're happening now. And when you know how to navigate time quantum style, you stop waiting and start receiving. Quantum jumping, instantly up level. Your next level life isn't years away. It's one decision away. In this training, you'll learn how to quantum jump, how to shift into a version of you that already has what you desire. This isn't fantasy. It's how high-performance creators, athletes, and spiritual masters leap beyond limits. Jump now. Land in power. Every word, the power of affirmations and spoken language. Words build worlds. In this course, I show you how to use affirmations like spell work, not just repeating empty mantras, but speaking with vibration, intention, and spiritual force. If you've ever felt like affirmations don't work, this will change everything. You'll learn to command your field, not just request from it. The greats, learning from the most exceptional minds in history. We're not the first to master this. In this legendary module, we decode the techniques, habits, and quantum genius of the world's most powerful manifestors, from ancient sages to modern icons. You'll learn how to think like the greats, move like the greats, and manifest like the greats. This isn't another feel-good series. This is a spiritual weapon, disguised as a manifestation course. It's made for leaders, cycle breakers, visionaries, and soul builders. You don't need another wish list. You need a system that teaches you how to bend reality. This is that system. So if you're ready to stop playing with potential and start creating results, welcome to your next level. The manifestation series is open now. You know what to do. Let's build what they said was impossible and make it inevitable.